how to prevent a class from being inherited. So basically there are two ways to prevent a class from being inherited. One is by using the sealed keyword in class, and the second is by using static keyword in class. So the difference between the static and the sealed is that we can create the object of a sealed class, but we cannot create the object of a static class. And if we want to prevent a class from being inherited, there are two ways. We can either use sealed keyword in a class, or we can use static keyword in base class. Does C# support multiple inheritance? How can you implement multiple inheritance in C#? So no, C# does not support multiple inheritance, but if you want to make use of multiple inheritance in C#, we can do it by C# supports the inheritance by multiple interfaces. So this is an alternative way of multiple inheritance. What are different types of inheritance in C#? So as far as I recall, there are 4 types of inheritance, namely single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. Single inheritance is a case where there is one base class and one derived class. Multiple inheritance is a case where there are multiple base classes and one derived class. In case of multi-level inheritance, there is a base class which has one derived class, and then there is another derived class which derives from this pre-derived class. That means there is a grandfather relation, father relation, and a child relation in classes. And hierarchical inheritance is a case where there is one base class and there are multiple derived classes from that base class. So there are 4 categories of inheritance: single, multiple, multi-level, and hierarchical. What is inheritance and when to use inheritance? Inheritance is a way of creating a parent-child relationship between two classes, where child class automatically gets the properties and methods of the parent classes. Inheritance is a OOPS concept, and it is good for code reusability and abstraction of the code. Are private classes members inherited to derived class in C#? No, the private members cannot be inherited to derived class. Only public and protected class members can be inherited in C#. What is abstraction? How to implement abstraction in real applications? So abstraction means showing only required things and hiding the background details. And we can implement abstraction in C# using abstract classes and interfaces. What is encapsulation? How to implement encapsulation in real application? Encapsulation means wrapping of data and methods into a single unit. So let's say we have a class called as employees, and we have a private field in it. As along with the private field, we have a public property of that private field, along with getter and setter to access that private element. So apart from that, we have multiple methods in the multiple functions and methods in that particular class of employee. This entire blueprint is set to help to implement the data encapsulation in real application. What is the difference between abstraction and encapsulation? Abstraction means showing only the required things and hiding the background details. Encapsulation means wrapping of data and methods into a single unit. What is C#? What is difference between C# and .NET? C# is an object-oriented programming language which runs on .NET framework. .NET is a framework for building and running softwares and applications. What is OOPS and what are the main concepts of OOPS? OOPS stands for Object Oriented Programming, which means it is a way to create software around objects. OOPS provide a clear structure for softwares and web application. The main concepts of OOPS include abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, and classes and objects. What are the advantages of OOPS? Advantages of OOPS include reusability of code using inheritance, flexibility of code using polymorphism, securing application by using encapsulation, easily scalable from small to large applications, and easier troubleshooting of code because of modularity. What are the limitations of OOPS? So OOPS has one disadvantage, which is that it is not suitable for small applications. What are classes and objects? A class is a logical unit or blueprint. It contains fields, methods, and properties. Class members are a constructor, which is a method in class which gets executed when a class object is created. Second class member is a field, is a variable of any type. It is basically the data. A property is a member that provides helps in read and write of the private field. A method is a code block that contains a series of statements, while an object is an instance of a class. What are the types of classes in C Sharp? Types of classes in C Sharp include abstract class, static class, partial class, and sealed class. Is it possible to prevent object creation of a class in C Sharp? Object creation of a class can be prevented by abstract class, private class, and static class. What is property in C Sharp? A property is a class member that provides a flexible mechanism to read and write private fields. What is the difference between property and function? So property is a specialized function in itself. Specialized means properties are used only to get and set field values, while a function is a function contains groups of methods to perform a specific task and operations. What are namespaces in C Sharp? So a namespace is a container for a set of related classes and other types. It is similar to packages in Java. What is polymorphism? What are its types and when to use polymorphism? So polymorphism is the ability of a variable, object or function to take on multiple forms. Types of polymorphism includes compile time polymorphism, which can be achieved by overloading, and the second type of polymorphism is runtime polymorphism, which can be achieved by overriding. Now when should we use polymorphism is that in order to implement the OOPS principle we use polymorphism, and we can use it whenever we want the code flexibility and extensibility, whenever we are looking for code reusability, whenever we are looking for runtime flexibility, whenever we want to implement abstraction. In these cases we use polymorphism. What is method overloading? In how many ways a method can be overloaded? So method overloading is a type of polymorphism in which we can create multiple forms of the same name in the same class, and all methods work in different ways. So how many ways a method can be overloaded? Let's say number of parameters in a method are different, types of parameters are different, and order of parameter are different. In these three cases, the method can be overloaded. If two methods are same except the return type, then methods are overloaded, or what will happen? So the answer to this question is no. This will show us compile time error. When should you use method overloading in real application? Whenever we want to achieve polymorphism and the abstraction of code, we use method overloading in real application. What is the difference between method overloading and method overriding? So method overloading is a phenomena where multiple methods of same name are present in single class. There is no need of inheritance as it is in single class. All methods have different signature and it comes under the compile time polymorphism. No special keywords are used in case of method overloading. In case of method overriding, there are multiple methods of same name in different classes. Inheritance is used as it is in different classes. All methods have same signature in case of method overriding, and method overriding is a runtime polymorphism, while we use virtual and override keyword in method overriding. So these are some key differences between method overloading and overriding. What is the use of overriding? When should I override the method in real applications? So overriding is used to modify and provide a new implementation of method inherited from a base class. And whenever we tend to achieve runtime polymorphism, then we use overriding. So if a method is marked as virtual, do we must have to override it from the child class? No, overriding virtual method is optional. What is the difference between method overriding and method hiding? So method overriding is used to achieve polymorphism, and we can do it by using keywords like virtual and override keyword. In case of method hiding, we can completely hide the implementation of a method of a base class from the derived class using the new keyword. So that is method hiding. What is the difference between an abstract class and an interface? Abstract classes contain both declaration and definition of methods, while interface should contain declaration of methods only. In case of abstract class, we have a keyword called as abstract. In case of interfaces, we have a keyword called as interface. Abstract class does not support multiple inheritance, while interfaces support multiple inheritance. Abstract class can have constructors, interfaces do not have constructors. So these are key differences between an abstract class and an interface. What is the difference between an abstract class and an interface? Abstract classes contain both declaration and definition of methods, while interface should contain declaration of methods only. In case of abstract class, we have a keyword called as abstract. In case of interfaces, we have a keyword called as interface. Abstract class does not support multiple inheritance, while interfaces support multiple inheritance. Abstract class can have constructors, interfaces do not have constructors. So these are key differences between an abstract class and an interface. When to use interface and when abstract class in real application. So an interface is a good choice when you know a method has to be there, but it can be implemented differently by independent derived classes. Abstract class is a good choice when you are sure some methods are concrete, defined, and must be implemented in the same way in all derived classes. Normally, we prefer interfaces because it gives us the flexibility to modify the behavior at later stage. Why to create interfaces in real applications? So benefits in interfaces includes help in defining the contract of the system. Unit testing is easy in applications having interfaces, and interfaces is used for implementing dependency injections. Can we define body of interfaces methods? When to define methods in interfaces? So yes, from C Sharp 8.0 it is possible to put method bodies in interfaces. Can we create an instance of an abstract class or an interface? No, abstract classes and interfaces purpose is to act as base class via inheritance. Their object creation is not possible. Do interfaces can have a constructor? No, interfaces can only be used for inheritance, so constructor is not required. Do abstract classes have constructors in C Sharp? Yes, abstract classes can have constructor. The reason is when abstract class is inherited in the derived class, and whenever the object of the derived class is created, then first the constructor of the abstract base class will be called, and then only the constructor of derived class will be called. What is the difference between abstraction and abstract class? Abstraction means showing only required things and hide the background details, while abstract class is one of the ways to implement abstraction. Can abstract classes be sealed or static in C Sharp? No, abstract classes are used for inheritance, but sealed and static both will not allow the class to be inherited. Can you declare abstract methods as private in C Sharp? No, abstract methods are only declaration and they must be implemented in derived class, therefore they cannot be private. Does abstract class support multiple inheritance? No, only at maximum one abstract class can be used for inheritance, but multiple interfaces can be used. What are access specifiers? Access specifiers are keyword to specify the accessibility of a class, method, property, field. The keywords are public, private, protected, internal, protected, internal. What is internal access modifier? Show example. Internal modifier is used to tell that access is limited to the current assembly only. What is the default access modifier in a class? So internal is the default access modifier of a class in C Sharp. What is boxing and unboxing? Where to use boxing and unboxing in real application? So boxing is the process of converting from value type to reference type. Unboxing is the process of converting from reference type to value type. And we internally use boxing when item is added to array list, and we use unboxing when item is extracted from array list. What is the basic string operations in C Sharp? So the basic string operations in C Sharp include concatenate, trim, replace and contains. So concatenate is where two strings can be concatenated either by using a simple system.string.concat or by using plus operator. In case of trim, trim is used to trim the white spaces in a string at the end. Replace is used to replace a string with another string. Contains is used to check if a string contains a pattern of substring or not. Which one is explicit boxing or unboxing? So the answer to this question is unboxing is explicit conversion process. Is boxing and unboxing good for performance? No, it is recommended to use boxing and unboxing when it is necessary only. Converting from one type to another type is not good for performance point of view. What is the difference between string and string builder? So string is immutable in C Sharp, while string builder is mutable in C Sharp. So immutable means it means if you define one string, then you couldn't modify it. Every time you will assign a same value to it, it will create a new string. In case of string builder, this means mutability means that if any manipulation will be done on string, then it will not create a new instance every time. So when to use string and when string builder in real application? If you want to change a string multiple times, then string builder is a better option from performance point of view, because it will not require new memory every time. What is string interpolation in C Sharp? String interpolation is a technique that enables you to insert expression values into string. What are the types of loops in C Sharp? So we have while loop, do while loop, for loop, and for each loop in C Sharp. We use it as per the requirements in the real application. What is the difference between continue and break statement? Continue statement is end the loop iteration and transfer the control to the beginning of the loop. Break statement end the loop iteration and exit the loop. What are the alternative way of writing if else conditions? So alternative ways are switch statement, if else if statements, and ternary operators. We use it as per the requirement of the conditions in the real application. How to implement exception handling in C Sharp? Exception handling in object oriented programming is used to manage errors. A try block is a block of code inside which any error can occur. Catch, when an error occurs in try block, then it is passed to the catch block to handle it. Finally, the finally block is used to execute a given set of statements whether an exception occur or not. Can we execute multiple catch blocks? No. We can write multiple catch blocks, but when we will run the application and if any error occur, only one out of them will execute based on the type of error. When to use finally in real application? Finally block is mostly used to dispose the unwanted objects when they are no more required. This is good for performance. Otherwise, you have to wait for garbage collector to dispose them. Can we have only try block without catch block in real application? Yes, we can have only try block without catch block, but then we must have finally block with try block. What is the difference between finally and finalize? Finally is used in exception handling. Finalize is a method which is automatically called by the garbage collector to dispose that no longer needed objects. What is the difference between throw_x and throw? Which one to use in real application? Throw_x will change the stack trace, whereas throw will preserve the whole stack trace. Throw_x will change the stack trace, whereas throw will preserve the stack trace. It is best to use throw as it preserves the whole stack trace. Explain generics in C Sharp. So generics allow us to make classes and methods type independent or type safe. The problem is it involves boxing from converting string value to object reference types. This will impact the performance. What are collections in C Sharp and what are their types? So C Sharp collection are used to store, manage and manipulate data, and examples of C Sharp collection include array list, dictionary, list, hash table, etc. What is the difference between array and array list? So array is a strongly typed. This means that an array can store only specific types of items and elements, and array list can store any type of items and elements, and array can contain fixed number of items while array list can store any number of items. What is the difference between list and dictionary collections? So list is a collection of items. It is a generic version of array list, while dictionary is a collection of key value pair. It is generic version of hash table. What is IEnumerable in C Sharp? IEnumerable interface is used when we want to iterate among our collection classes using a for each loop. What is the difference between IEnumerable and IEnumerator? IEnumerable internally uses IEnumerable to iterate over the collection via for each loop. IEnumerable simplifies the use of IEnumerator. What is the difference between IEnumerable and iQueryable in C Sharp? Why to use iQueryable for SQL queries? iQueryable inherited from IEnumerable interface only. So anything you can do with a IEnumerable, we can also do it with iQueryable also. For example, iterating the collection can be done by both IEnumerable and iQueryable. IEnumerable is used with in-memory location. iQueryable is better in getting results from database. iQueryable inherited from IEnumerable interface only, so anything you can do with IEnumerable, you can also do with an iQueryable also. IEnumerable bring all the result from database and then filter it at code side, which is network load and performance issue. iQueryable filter the result at database only and then get only filtered result, therefore less network load and better performance. iQueryable is under system.linQ namespace. IEnumerable is under system.collections namespace. What is constructor? When to use constructor in real application? A constructor is a specialized method in the class which gets executed when a class object is created. Constructor name will be same as name of class. A constructor is used to set default values for the class. What are the types of constructor? So types of constructor are default constructor, parameterized constructor, copy constructor, static constructor, private constructor. What is default constructor? A default constructor is a constructor that automatically created by the compiler if no other constructors are defined in the class. What is parameterized constructor? A constructor with at least one parameter is called parameterized constructor. What is static constructor? When to use it in real application? Static constructor is used to call before any static member of a class is called. So we will be using it as per the requirement in the real application. Can we have parameters or access modifier in static constructors? No, static constructors cannot have parameters or access modifiers. What is private constructor? When to use? When a constructor is created with private specifier, it is not possible for other classes to derive from this class. Neither it is possible to create an instance of this class. What is constructor overloading? Constructor overloading is a technique to define multiple constructor within a class with different set of parameters. What is destructor? Destructor in C sharps are methods inside the class used to destroy instances of that class when they are no longer needed. The destructor is called implicitly by .NET Framework's garbage collector. Can we create object of classes with private constructor in C sharp? No, we cannot create the object of classes with private constructor in C sharp. What is copy constructor? The constructor which creates an object by copying variables from another object is called a copy constructor. If base class and child class both have constructor, which one will be called class? When derived class object is created, so the base class constructor will be called first. What is a method in C sharp? A method is a code block that contains a series of statements. What is the difference between out and ref parameters? When to use out and when to use ref? So in case of out parameter, we no need to initialize it before passing it. But in case of ref parameter, we must initialize it before passing, else it will throw us error. Out parameter must be initialized before returning. For ref parameter, initialization is not necessary before returning. We use out parameter to return a new and fresh value, and we use ref to modify an existing value. What is params keyword? When to use params keyword in real application? Param keyword is used as a parameter which can take variable number of parameters. It is useful when programmer don't have any prior knowledge about the number of parameters to be used. What are optional parameters in a method? So optional parameters allow some arguments which are not mandatory to pass and their default value is set. How to return more than one value from a method in C Sharp. So we can do this by using ref and out keywords and by using a list, array list or any form of collection in the return type. What are named parameters in a method? Named parameter are used to specify an argument based on the name of the argument and not the position. What are extension methods in C Sharp? When to use extension methods in real application? Extension methods allows you to add new methods in the existing class without modifying the source code of the original class. Extension method must be static because this will be directly called from the class name, not by the object creation. This keyword is used for binding this method with the main class. Use them when you want to add a method in a class which code you don't have. What are delegates in C Sharp? When to use delegates in real applications? A delegate is a variable that holds the reference to a method or a pointer or to a method. A delegate can refer to more than one methods of same return type and parameters. When to use delegate? When we need to pass a method as a parameter, then we use a delegate. What are multicast delegates? A multicast delegate in C Sharp is a delegate that holds the references of more than one function. What are anonymous delegates in C Sharp? Delegates pointing methods without name are called anonymous delegates. What are the differences between the events and delegates? The event is a notification mechanism that depends on delegates. An event is dependent on a delegate and cannot be created without delegates. And event is like a wrapper over the delegate to improve its security. What is this keyword in C Sharp? When to use it in real application? This keyword is used to refer to the current instance of the class. This keyword avoids the name confusion between the class fields and the constructor parameters. What is the purpose of using keyword in C Sharp? There are two types of there are two purposes of using keyword in C Sharp. One is for using the directive and other is the using statement where the using statement ensures that the dispose method of the class object is called even if an exception occurs. Can we use using keyword with other classes apart from DB connection? Yes, using keyword can be used with any class which is inherited from iDisposable class. For example, with StreamReader class. What is the difference between is and as operator? The is operator is used to check the type of an object. As operator is used to perform conversion between compatible reference type. The is operator will return Boolean type. The as operator is not of Boolean type. What is the difference between read-only and constant variables? So, using constant, we must assign values with declaration itself. But read-only fields can be assigned in declaration as well as in the constructor part. Constant field value cannot be changed, but read-only field value can be changed. Const keyword is used for constant and read-only keyword is used for read-only. Constant is compile time constant and read-only is runtime constant. What is static class? When to use static class in real application? A static class is a class which object cannot be created and which cannot be inherited. So use of static class. Static classes are used as container for static members like method, constructors, and others. What is the difference between var and dynamic in C sharp? Var, the type of variable, is decided by the compiler at compile time. Dynamic, the type of variable is decided at runtime. What is the enum keyword used for? An enum is a special class that represents a group of constants. Is it possible to inherit enum in C sharp? Enum is a sealed class type, so it cannot be inherited. What is the use of yield keyword in C sharp? The yield keyword act as an iterator blocker and generate or return values. What is LINQ? When to use LINQ in real applications? So LINQ stands for Language Integrated Query, is uniform query syntax in C sharp to retrieve data from data sources. LINQ query is used in object collection. It is used in Edio.NET dataset. It is used in XML documents. It is used in entity framework. It is used in SQL database base and other data sources by implementing iQueryable uses LINQ. What are the advantages and disadvantages of LINQ? Advantages of LINQ include easy and simple syntax to learn. It improves the code readability. It improves performance and it has type safety. While disadvantage of LINQ include limited support for some data sources and it is difficult to maintain and debug. So our next question is, what are lambda expression? What is the use in real application? A lambda expression is used to simplify the syntax of anonymous methods. What is the difference between first and first or default methods in LINQ? First method will return the first value, but it is not able to handle null values. First or default will return the first value and it is able to handle null values also. So that is the difference.